Since the signing of the Declaration of Independence in 1776, American political leaders have maintained the importance of the separation between church and state. While the United States has always been a predominantly religious Christian country, after the 20th century, Americans increasingly embraced secularism. However, according to the Pew Research Center, declines in participation in organized religion stabilized in 2020 and may in fact be reversing. My video essay will examine the history of the separation between church and state and our current political moment through the lens of the social contract theory. The first legal document establishing self-government and collective responsibility in early America was the Mayflower Compact. This compact, signed in 1620, outlined citizens' basic duty to comply with laws that ensure the well-being of all members of society. However, those civil duties had religious motivations as well. The Mayflower Compact blended political and religious ideologies and demonstrated the way that politics would move forward using both Christian notions of moral responsibility and secular understanding of civic duties. In 1651, Thomas Hobbes' seminal philosophical work, Leviathan, proposed that the anarchic return to the state of nature could be avoided if humans surrendered freedoms to a monarchy. Leviathan justified monarch rule in terms of a consented collective good rather than divine decree. The next influential figure in the evolution of the social contract theory was John Locke. Locke opposed absolute monarchy and proposed that all humans had natural rights that any governing body had the duty to protect. Locke believed that natural rights come from divine creation. The last in this line of thinkers was Rousseau, whose treatise, The Social Contract, published in 1762, established that individuals should surrender their self-serving desires to establish a society that benefits all. These three thinkers deeply influenced the founding fathers of the United States. The Declaration of Independence signaled the desire for democratic freedoms independent of British monarchical rule. However, the document was more aligned with the religious beliefs of Locke than the social contract ideals of Rousseau. The first line of the Declaration of Independence states that people are, quote, endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. The Christian influence here is clear. We are given universal human rights by God, and these rights must be respected and observed because they are God-given. At the same time, the Declaration of Independence universal rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness were the basis for a secular nation. If the Declaration of Independence planted the seeds of a secular nation, it was the Constitution that cemented the U.S. as a secular democracy. The Constitution does not mention God, and its authority is grounded in the consent of the governed, we the people, establishing governance on the basis of a social contract rather than through divine rule. The Constitution, a blend of Locke and Rousseau's visions for society, is a practical embodiment of social contract theory and set the foundation for the U.S. as a religiously tolerant secular nation.
What is the fourth commandment?
Keep the Sabbath.
Part of keeping the Sabbath holy is not working on the Sabbath.
That is, yeah.
What day is the Jewish Sabbath?
It is on Saturday.
And what day is it today?
It is Saturday. Here we are.
The Christian Sabbath is what day?
Sunday, in honor of the day that Jesus rose from the dead.
And we're scheduled to give this bill a final vote on what day of the week?
It's ironic, isn't it?
Would you be willing to postpone your bill so that we're not breaking the Ten Commandments by working on the Jewish or Christian Sabbath?
I love that you said that because
you're saying that you'd rather tell people to follow the Ten Commandments than follow it yourself?
I would have rather have had this bill passed the other day when it was time.
We as a legislature are about to force every teacher in the state to post the Ten Commandments in their classrooms.
If they are donated.
Do members of the Texas legislature follow the Ten Commandments?
So again, this bill is about honoring our historical, educational, and judicial heritage with the displaying of the Ten Commandments.
The ninth commandment is, thou shalt not bear false witness. Are you aware of any legislators who have lied about anything?
That is There might be one coming up in a minute if you keep talking. We'll see.
The seventh commandment is, "Thou shalt not commit adultery."
Yes.
Do you think that members of the legislature should focus more on trying to follow the Ten Commandments rather than telling others to follow them?
This video shows Texas State Representative James Tallarico debating a new law requiring the posting of the Ten Commandments in every classroom. In 1980, the Supreme Court established the Lemon Test, which determined the constitutionality of a law based on, quote, whether it has a legitimate secular purpose, does not have the primary effect of either advancing or inhibiting religion, and does not result in an excessive entanglement of government and religion. However, a case in 2022 struck down the Lemon Test and instead instructed judges to consider history and the understanding of the Founding Fathers when considering these laws. As a consequence, we are seeing a shift in Supreme Court rulings in favor of religious belief, such as rulings that it is constitutional to have prayer before school football games and refuse services to gay couples. The religious shift right of the Supreme Court has directly coincided with the political and cultural shift toward a religious Christian nation. On the cultural level, there is a rise in popularity of religious influencers active on social media. On a political level, the White House espouses conservative Christian viewpoints. President Trump has stated that the American people, quote, have to bring back religion, bring it back stronger than ever before. In recent years, political leaders and media figures are seeking an appeal to religion as rationale for power and policy making. Through the lens of social contract theory, this presents a problem for Americans who have consented to be governed as a secular nation. Since the Mayflower Compact, American civil society has blended Christian moral values and civic duties into a social contract similar to that imagined by Rousseau and Locke. This social contract became actualized in the Constitution, which created the basis of a government whose right to govern came from consenting citizens rather than religious decree. It could be argued that we are simply returning to the religious principles evident in early founding documents of America. However, through the lens of social contract theory that more closely shaped the structure of the U.S. government developed in the Constitution, a governmental stance that favors a Christian nation goes against the fundamental ideals of American society.